Good afternoon, guys. How are we?
Good afternoon. Am I frozen now?
Yeah,
You
you're
are
frozen.
brother.
Oh yeah.
Just while you're picking that up, brother, I'm just going to do an acknowledgement of the country. So pay respects to elders past and present, and any emerging elders as well on all the lands that we're on. So you can be speaking, and I guess Cockatoon people for you, Renee.
Yeah, Cockatoon people.
And just pay respects to them and welcome everyone into our space, and let's just have a little bit of a yarn. So, and tonight we want to welcome in Renee Blackman. So we're just going to hear a little bit of your backstory, Renee, please, and we'll go from there. Right? Thank you.
Yeah, welcome, Renee. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Hey, hi everyone. My name is Renee Blackman. I'm originally from the sunny coast. I'm a Gubbi woman from the Sunshine Coast. Grew up in Nambour. For those people, if you're online today and you're listening from Nambour, big shout out to my hometown. But was schooled in Brisbane and have not looked back ever since, I guess. When I first started, I guess my passion is Aboriginal health, and I've been working in that for a really, really long time. Started out as an Aboriginal health worker many moons ago. And then, yeah, did you? There you go. Aboriginal health worker on the north side of Brisbane. Loved it. I think it was because everybody was telling me I should have been a teacher, and I just went, no, well, I'm going to do something totally different. So I went and did health, but unbeknownst to me, that was probably my calling, and I've loved it and haven't looked back since. Decided that I wanted to also become a nurse. So have been a nurse now for the last probably 15 years of my career. So I'm not going to tell you, the grey hair tells you I'm old enough to have that type of a career behind me. But it finds me out here in Calcatoon country. When I first started nursing, decided to come out to Mount Isa. So my husband and I had I guess it was a 5-year plan at the time, but we ended up staying about 15 the first time round in Mount Isa. It's just because we loved the place. We loved the Northwest, and we loved working out in this part of the world. And then decided to go home for a little while, went back to the coast because our old people weren't getting any younger. Had to say goodbye to a couple, and then a chance came up to come what we call home. So we came back home to Mount Isa, and we've been out here for the last 2 years. So, enjoying it. That's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, it's a special place, special part of the country, Renee. Yeah. Is that me or you? Who's doing that?
I don't think that's me, DJ.
No. It's weird, isn't it? Can you guys hear it?
Yeah, it can do.
Yeah.
What is it? No, I can't hear a thing. I can just hear it. I can hear you two, your dulcet tones.
That's a bit too fine, I think.
Yeah. I think Jack, you've been out to Mount Isa, haven't you? I've been out there over the years, and it's a special place. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely been out there. I don't know what that noise is either, CJ. So
yeah.
Definitely been out to Mount Isa and did a lot of work in Doomadgee as well with the Wani people there. So I worked with the Wani Aboriginal Corporation there in 2013, 2014. So it was something that was pretty special to me as well. So we spent a fair bit of time in Mount Isa when we were doing that work as well. So
Yeah. We've got a few people coming on, and I see John Riley's on from up at he's up at Hopevale, isn't he?
Yeah, Johnny's up at Hopevale, and he runs the men's group up there. We're hoping to have John and the fellas on very shortly to have a yarn to them live at their men's group, because they've done something that's a little bit innovative there, where they actually spoke to the council and whoever else they needed to be able to get their men's group back up and running during COVID-19. So, so something really special is happening there. So we're going to have a yarn to them at some stage.
Yeah. A lot of your programs up there, I know you work for Gidgee Healing now.
Gidgee Healing,
yeah. Still running, I suppose, and providing that service to your community at a distance at some stage?
Yeah, definitely. COVID's had a really big impact on what we do as an Aboriginal medical service or Aboriginal community controlled health service, because it's just curtailed. It's stopped us from doing what we do as Aboriginal community controlled health organisations, which is that face-to-face engagement with people, and our communities are feeling it, but we also understand the importance of keeping our communities safe, and making sure that we remain, because we're COVID free out this way. And I always say to people, it's not by any accident at all. Our councils and our health councils and our other, providers in the space, we've all worked real hard to keep it out of here. Because we know that if it rips through the northwest and the Gulf country, it'll decimate our communities. Black and white don't matter. Because we're so far away from all of those respirators people may need. It's very limited in terms of what we've got access to out here. So we need to keep it away from us as much as possible. So the Great Divide helps us. That big range helps us a little bit.
Yeah. And some of that, I reckon, a lot of that restrictions as well, in terms of travel and that. You guys that have fly in, fly out still at the mines, or?
Yeah, definitely. That's it's probably been one of our biggest challenges in understanding what the mines are doing around precautions to keep our communities safe, because we understand the economy's got to continue, but we also understand that we just want a better communication. The mines have been good to an extent in making sure that we keep those communication lines open, so that they are communicating with councils and the leaders in those communities to make sure that we understand where the threats potentially could come from. I don't think we're under any illusions out here. If COVID's going to come, it's going to come. But we just want to be ready as we can be. So
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Well said too. I mean, and that's fantastic that COVID free. I mean, that's amazing, really, isn't it?
It is. Well, apparently no cases in Queensland today, so that was good. No reported
that's a good thing.
Cases.
That's
yeah. And Premier's doing some rethinking, I guess, in terms of lifting some of those restrictions, but not wholesale, I suppose. She'll be making some minor adjustments if that's what she does, and it's I think that's a wise choice as well. For Queenslanders, but,
just got a few people we're going to have a bit of a shout out to, Charlie and Renee. Stephen Simpson. G'day, Stephen. Thanks for listening in.
He says hello, Renee. You know Stephen?
Stephen? Yeah, I do. Hey.
There you go. Richard Weston. G'day from Melbourne. And as you said, Charlie, John Riley. Online as well. G'day, Ian. He did some mental health training up there at Mount Isa.
Yep. Ian Bridger. Yeah,
Ian Bridger. And we've got Jan Romer as well. G'day, Jan.
Auntie Jan.
Blackman.
A Canberra Raider. She's a Canberra Raider. She'll be waiting for that football to start.
Oh, we won't hold that against her.
No.
And we've also got our favourite far away person in Wales, Dan Hogan, joined us again. So Jan joined us this week, Renee. So,
okay.
She gets the long far away award, I suppose. So
I don't know what time it is over there. Maybe Jan will let us know what time it is and what time of day it is. Actually, I haven't a clue.
It's pretty early. I think she gets up to listen to you, Charlie, because she's pretty fond of you with your banana bread and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, you don't know that story yet, Renee.
You'll hear it today, Renee. You'll hear it.
I'm using COVID to do a couple of things I've never done before. So
well done.
Banana bread was one of them. Yeah. So
mine's growing vegetables. So
there
you go. Yes. Yes.
How's it going out there? Is it good, or is it a good time to be growing and planting things, or not?
Oh, it's a bit cold now. Like the frost is getting to them a little bit, but they're still battling. The chilies are battling. The chilies is what I needed to grow.
Oh, so you got some chilies in. What else?
Chilies, tomatoes, cucumbers. So we'll see how we go.
See how you go. Yeah. I hope you put it in a potting mix or something. Because I don't that ground.
No, I didn't put it out of the ground. No.
Now, Now, just what did we get up to on the weekend? What did you get up to, Renee?
What did I get up to? Look, I've taken up golf. Absolutely love golf. So, yeah, anyone that knows me knows that I love sport. I'm a bit of a sports nut, fanatic, and I've always played sport my whole life, touch footy, basketball, netball, you name it. And my husband hounded me because he needed a golf partner. And so he said, I'll buy you a golf membership. And I ended up playing 18 holes. It's great exercise. Walk it every time. Yeah, and we actually did quite well on 2-ball Ambrose this weekend. Yeah, so
good stuff.
We're a good team. Especially when he doesn't throw his clubs around, then we're even better.
No, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that, Renee. He's pretty calm, isn't he?
It is a bit of a frustrating game, though, isn't it?
It is.
To be honest,
it is. It's a frustrating game, especially when we, rather than playing golf, we tree lob. You know, got to hit every tree on the Mount Isa golf course. But yeah, it's a good social outing. And of course, the majority, men play. Of course, there's hardly any women that play golf out here, but there is a women's comp, and it's enjoyable. So we were happy when our golf club opened back up with the relaxing of some of the restrictions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bloody dangerous sport out of Mount Isa. I remember getting hit by a golf ball on that first tee.
Oh yeah. Yes, because people slice. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a men's health forum and a golf day out there, and some of those blokes have never picked up a club in their life, and they were just hitting them like champions. I don't know what it was, but they just know how to eyeball contact sort of stuff. Connection. It was just great, but they got me.
We got Chris Lee online again too, and he just said that golf scores a good walk.
Especially when you're tree lopping.
Yeah, that's right. Go to the green machine, you reckons?
And Jan just wants us to know it's 8:35 a.m. over there. So.
Oh, okay.
Good morning, Jan.
In Wales.
In Wales. Good morning. Yeah, definitely.
CJ, what did you get up to, brother?
On the weekend, geez, it's been so long ago. I don't know. I can't remember. Actually,
you did a little bit yesterday, though, did you?
Oh, yeah, we went for a bit of a drive up Currumbin Valley, which is something that I've never done. I've never seen the place. It's quite nice up there, beautiful drive up there. We went up to go to a farmer's market or whatever, like an organic market up there called Freeman's. But we got up there about lunchtime, so there was hardly anything left. So it must be pretty good produce they have up there.
I do have to ask you, CJ, was that at all under sufferance that you went up there, or?
Yeah, well, what was it yesterday? Saturday? No, was it? Yeah, Saturday. No, Sunday.
Sunday.
Sunday. I don't like to do much, but anyway, I was talked into it. You guys put pressure on me. Jack and Lisa, we caught up with them Sunday morning, and I was just having a coffee with them, and all of a sudden, it's all about going on a bit of a cruise. All over the place, even out bloody whale watching and stuff. I said, "What? I'm not going whale watching today." But anyway, we went for a bit of a drive, and it was good. I enjoyed it. You enjoyed it? Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. We went out and had a look at some of the big surf as well. There were some huge waves out at Snapper Rocks, and huge. Murray was happy to be sitting up on the headland. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I don't like to any more than dip my feet in there either, brother.
I know.
Of the great sea, so and respect totally. So
that's
for me. So I'm saying I stay with you and just admire.
What did you do? What did you do on the weekend then, Jack? You ask about it.
Yeah, no, look, we did a little bit of a run on Saturday. 5K run, and did that because we're also in training for our first half marathon. So, we're keen on doing that. So, just training up for that at the moment, and probably not much else either. CJ, had a coffee with you and Michelle. Talked a little bit and watched the dog catcher and the police booking a few people, didn't we? Eh?
Oh, gee whiz.
The black and the brown box we got booked. There was no
No.
white dogs getting booked, was there?
No, they're all going in the black box. What's going on with that? I don't know what's going on with that.
We'll leave
You
that
reckon
to the imagination, eh?
Yeah, you reckon they would have just got a warning first up, or would have given a warning and said, "Look, I'll catch you next time." But no, they were. Oh yeah, they were pretty ruthless. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but yeah, no, that's that's what we do. And Renee, are you still going to the with Johnny Doyle out there and at his gym?
No, so the gyms haven't opened yet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay.
But I wanted to ask Jack about his half marathon. How far away is it, Jack? Because I'm starting my 5K training tomorrow. Because that's I want to do that eventually, a half marathon of some sort. Talk to us about that. How far away is yours?
You make a good. You might get a gig with us. I'm asking that question. Yeah, no, look. It's something. A few years ago, we were actually training for. Where's that noise coming from? Thursday?
I don't know. I'm hearing it. Renee's obviously not hearing it. Probably Claire out there might be.
Must be me. No. Anyway, a couple of years ago, we were really super fit when we were living in Cairns. We were training for to do a we call it Ironman triathlon, those sort of things. The only problem we had with that, Renee, was that both of us couldn't really swim. So we thought, I don't think we're ever going to get to do our triathlon if we can't really swim. So
you'd want to swim out in the Cairns, would you? Haven't you got those big reptiles like I got out this way, or which way?
That's the other thing that was really worrying, Renee. So when we
learn to swim quick.
You have to be faster than the slowest person, don't you, really?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
But anyway, we've thought over that. So we've thought that we'll be training for this half marathon that we would really love to do. So I think we're looking at the start of August, to be honest. So it's around about that. We do a training program with Garmin. Use our watches, and that tells us what we need to run every day and that sort of stuff. And we're just doing that. So we're just getting back into a bit of training. So yeah, and doing a little bit of boot camp as well and those sort of things. So yeah, so good luck with your half marathon.
Yeah, I'm starting my run tomorrow.
Well, maybe we can run one together.
Yeah, well, I'm doing a Couch to 5K app.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Start myself off small. We'll see what I can do.
Absolutely. That's beautiful.
That'll be about from down Isa to the dam, wouldn't it?
That's about 15K. That's it. What?
Is it? Oh.
Yeah, that's about 15, 20K maybe from where I live anyway.
Yeah.
Yes. So we won't go jumping in that quick, Charlie. Come on.
No. We only got to run a third of the way and back. No, that's double. That's 10K. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. But it's probably good.
We actually did do a 10K run a couple of years ago in when up at Port Douglas, and it was so hot, but it was it looked fantastic. We got through it, and we absolutely loved it, and that's why we wanted to do this half marathon. Yeah, so.
No, that's good.
You got your mate down at where is he down at Nowra? He's going to run it too, isn't he?
Yeah, we had Dwayne Bannon Harrison on a few weeks ago, and he's doing the same sort of training program. So we're hoping it's all open back up again. But if not, we're going to actually run it. We're going to run it here, and he's going to run it down at Nowra, and see how we go. So try and put it together. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah. Good idea. Yeah. So now listen, Renee, you've got your own clubs?
Yeah, I've got my own clubs.
Oh yeah, you're getting deadly. You are getting fairly good. Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting right into it. That's exactly right.
Well, you let us know when the next comp you're going to have up there, the next golf day. That'll be good.
Yeah, it was scheduled just as COVID hit.
All right.
So it was scheduled in March. So the minute that we get restrictions lifted so that we can move in and out of community, because we still got biosecurity restrictions in terms of people moving in and out of places like Doomadgee and Mornington. As soon as those are lifted, we'll probably reset that date. And because the golf club's back open, so the golf club actually complies at the moment with Deadly Choices, because Deadly Choices is smoke and alcohol free, and the golf club at the moment is alcohol free. You can't bring any alcohol onto the golf course.
Really?
And they're not selling it either. So
is that right? Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a change.
Oh, there's a fair few people that won't come out to the golf course until that changes. Members, but not us. We just like golf too much.
That's good. That is good. Yeah. It's has it been a bit of a hindrance, being kind of isolated, not being able to, travel and stuff like that, or for you guys?
From a service delivery point of view, I think definitely, and I think for people on community, it was probably restrictions upon restrictions. If I could put it like that, people had to get used to the fact that they couldn't just move freely in and out, and I had to do a fair bit of negotiation even to get out on country. So once councils got their heads around exactly how they were going to keep community safe, because it's the best thing to do was to go bush, right?
Yeah.
But it's also about understanding who's out bush, so that if something does go wrong from a medical or emergency point of view, you can reach people, and they can reach you if people need help. So it was more about that sort of, figuring that part out than it was about not letting people go on country. But, you put restrictions upon restrictions, and then people start to get a bit antsy about that sort of stuff. They have opened up camping out here, not at the Gregory though, the Gregory River, not there, but definitely in and around Mount Isa. People can now, move out of town a little bit and maybe go out for a camp overnight. So that's just those gradual easing of restrictions and people getting back to whatever new normal is. That's what we're saying. It's new normal.
Yeah.
It'll be normal soon, but it'll just be new.
I guess places like Adele's Grove and that, they'll be sort of struggling a bit at the moment, wouldn't they?
Well, they burnt down. Didn't you hear we had a big fire at Adele's Grove?
Really?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it was either just after Christmas or just before Christmas. So they were actually in the midst of doing a rebuild. So so they're having to redesign and rebuild Adele's at the moment. So
okay. So maybe a good time to get into that right now, I suppose. But still, still kind of in lockdown. I was going to ask you now. You've been rubbing shoulders with royalty, I believe.
Yeah, I did. That was a bit of a spin out. I tell you what. It was in aid of the International Year of the Nurse, but also International Day of Nurse, the Day for Nurses and Midwives. And I just got a call from a contact who said, "Would you like to do an interview with International College of Council of Nursing?" And I just thought it was just going to be an interview with those guys, and I knew that their base was in England, so I was like, yeah, why not? Yep, no problem. But then it was really weird because as they were talking about the interview, it was almost like they were interviewing me. And I said, look, if I'm not the right person, well, I can find the right nurses for you. But they said, no, you're right. And by the way, it'll be with the royal family. And that's when I nearly fell off my chair. But it was probably one of the biggest secrets we had to keep, because when they told me, I had to pick two other nurses who were working in Aboriginal primary health care. And we all had to keep it secret for about a week. So, it was hard as Murray's to keep that secret.
Well, you did right
there. But it was, it was a bit of a, and, you didn't realise, you just sort of go about your business and you think, okay, another, like an interview.
Yeah.
But then when it broke on the news that day here in Australia, it was hectic. I wouldn't give up my day job to be famous at all, with all that press wanting a piece here and you've got to be on this breakfast show or that breakfast. No, I'd never do that again. But it was a good way to showcase the Northwest and the Gulf, and represent that, we're doing things out here that we just got to think a little bit more about, because we don't have access to a lot of things that people do on the coast, and that's okay, We sort of, and I think I said in one interview, geography is not usually our friend, but this time around during COVID, it has been. It's been our friend. Mm.
Yeah. No, great to have that international exposure, I suppose, and
Yeah, well done.
Well done. Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Someone said that to me. I think it was, who was that? Maybe an Appo or something. And young Nathan said, "Oh, did you see Renee and them on TV talking to, what's her name? Kate? Princess Kate? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No, it was funny because the three of us after the interview, we sat there and because it was midnight on a Monday night,
Oh, yeah.
And so we all finished the interview and just sort of took a deep breath out and went, oh, well, that's over. Oh, I said to him, oh, geez, that's something we can tick off our bucket list, eh? And I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then one of the girls turned to me and goes, Renee, that's going to be like the future queen. And I went, oh, yeah. She is too, eh? She's going to be. She's like the King's Concord, isn't she? Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's right. But that was never. But it probably was never on your bucket list, Renee. To tell you the
truth.
It
wasn't. We wrote it on there real fast and then ticked it.
I mean, who would set that on a bucket list anyway? Well, I guess if you don't put it, you never do it. I suppose that's the thing.
Yeah,
that's right.
I just want to say hello to Auntie Dawn Applin from Dumaji. She's joined us and having a look. David Eric Sutton.
Hey, Dave, how are you, mate?
Ian Bridgie said he's been delivering online training, which has created connection, and that certainly does, I suppose, doesn't it? We've with our work at Mibbenbar, we've had to because all our work is community based, so we've had to try and change it up to use technology, and that's been a real challenge as well. And this is another platform that Charlie and I have just started 7 weeks ago. And
well, it's just like Breton royalty, isn't it?
Yeah. Bernadette Lynch says hi, everyone. Bernadette's in Melbourne.
Yeah, she said, "Oh, wow, Renee, that was you I saw on the news."
Yeah, it was.
How exciting! How exciting! She said, "Yeah."
Yeah, famous
good on
Renee.
Sorry.
See you, famous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting a bit hard to walk down the street of Mount Isa. No, just kidding.
Everyone bowing to you. You just go like that. You just go like that. Got the hair going like that now. She's got it.
Yeah, got a few of the fellas out at the golf course curtsying. They looked a bit funny when they were curtsying.
No, that's great. That's really good news.
Yeah.
It's really, how good was that? I mean, bloody hell. Oh, well,
Now, Renee, can you tell us a little bit about Gidgee Health and some of the programs that you run? I know what programs you run, like on Mornington Island and in Dumaji and those sort of places, but tell us a little bit about some of those projects and programs that you do run in those sort of places.
Yeah, we've got our GP service, which is the doctors and the nurses and run a primary healthcare service, and it's been a bit of a I guess it's been a bit. Look, we have to move as fast or as quickly as our communities require us to move. Yes, and I think when I took on the role, because I've been CEO out here for the last 2 years, so the primary healthcare into the lower Gulf has only been in those communities probably for the last 3 or 4 years, and we got to be honest with ourselves. I think as Gidgee, we got to continue with that community engagement to make sure that Gidgee's doing the right thing by community and making sure that we're bringing the programs that communities want. We have Deadly Choices, which is a youth program. We have a family wellbeing program, which looks at, early intervention from that child protection system to make sure that we're helping families stay away from that particular system, and then trying to make all of that work together. I think is probably one of the hardest things we've got to do as Gidgee, because our people shouldn't have to walk through a door and be shuffled across to another door. It should be through one door, and then it should be like a menu, for people when they walk into a Gidgee service. And I guess that's what it's the reason I took the job on, because it's one of the things I like to do, is to make sure that systems work for people rather than people trying to comply with systems, So, and I could see that Gidgee needed it grew really, really quickly. So when we were in Mount Isa the first time, the only clinic Gidgee had was in Burke Street in Mount Isa. We had maybe 20 employees. and that was probably just over 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago.
Yep.
When I came back this time, we've got close on probably 170 employees. We're now into the lower Gulf, into Mornington and Doomadgee and Normanton, as well as continuing the services in Mount Isa in the west. But it was about how do you pull all of that together to make sure that everybody's getting what they need from Gidgee, you know, and we can't be everything to everybody, but we try hard to do what we can for communities, you know. And there's still, you know, to me, I think, you know, and Auntie Dawn's on the line there, I think it's very much we've got to continue to listen to what community need us to bring, or not too, you know, that's the other part. And like we've always been, you know, we always sometimes very much a slave to what the government want us to do and want us to be. And I think as the Aboriginal service in the middle of that, I know that I stand strong for our mob to say, well, hang on a minute, we've got to wait to see what community want us to do. We can't just roll in because the government tells us we've got to do that sort of stuff. You know, so, and I think that's part of being a community-controlled organisation. But, you know, we're all human. You know, we'll stumble and fall too, but we'll do that with our communities as we do it. But, you know, there's lots of programs that we do, very much. We try to be very respectful and very responsive. One of the things that I would really like to see Gidgee take on into the future is very much that domestic and family violence space, and actually work really, really hard around all aspects of that, which includes everybody in the family. You know, very, you know, almost always it's very much a reaction type space where people, you can only react to sometimes what the victims of that particular situation bring to you as a GP service, but we know that there's a bigger story behind that. And sometimes it's endemic of, you know, a lot of things that are within our control, outside our control. So that's why I'd really like to concentrate on, and, you know, Charlie always reminds me of it, and so do a lot of the men in my family, about, well, what are we doing for the fellas, you know, and that definitely doesn't escape me. You know, I have a son, and there's things there that, you know, you look at a lot of our Aboriginal medical services or Aboriginal services indeed across the country, you know, that you think, okay, we're catering to families, but what are we doing for the fellas? Because we've got to support our fellas to be those warriors we know they are, you know. So, and we can only do that as, you know, our communities do things together. And that's the sort of stuff that is sometimes really, really hard when funders come to you and tell you, well, this bit of money's for the women, this bit of money's for the kids, this bit of money, you know, you just got to sort of stand there and go, hang on a sec, that's not how our communities work. We actually work as a whole, you know. So that's sometimes a hard conversation to get. I'm going through audit at the moment, so it's so I jumped off an audit review, you know, debriefing meeting, you know how they go, and jumped into this meeting with you fellas today, and it's just very clear and present in my mind that you know, sometimes the structures that we have to work in don't necessarily work to how our communities want them to work, but that's our job to make sure it all fits, you know.
Renee, and you know, talking about family health, and I suppose that's what this is all about when we talk about that domestic violence and, you know, family health type of stuff. How do we get the men in there? You know, how do we get what do we do to get the men involved and engaged? I know that a lot of this stuff that happens is because of a number of things, and it could be quite different to each situation, I suppose. But I know that as a bloke, and you know, I take care of myself. You know, that's because I've been working in the same space as you've been working for so many years. You know, around health and you know, now men's health. So it's okay for me because I'm more aware of, you know, who I am and what my role is in the family, you know, and also what my role is in the community as well. You know, what my obligations are. So how do we sort of kind of, I don't know, you know, I'm just trying to think out loud, and, you know, what is it that we need to instill in our men to be able to, for them to take control of their lives and their health and their family, you know. And
it's an age-old question, that one, I reckon. But
I reckon, yeah.
But you know, I've been talking a lot about the two things that I wanted to speak to that royal family about was one about working together as a region to be able to, work better for our communities and work better with our hospital and health services, make everything connect for people, because it's the hardest thing. When you go into a system and it just doesn't work for you, and you just feel lost. But when you work together with people, that it's much easier for the consumer or the end user or the client or the patient, But the other part was about the mental health, state of mental health, and let's just take COVID, for example, or any natural disaster or any sort of crisis that comes upon any community. There's always going to be a mental health or social emotional wellbeing fallout, because people have to cope with whatever happened and then what's new coming, in terms of how you've got to change your life. And then I don't think it answers your question, Charlie, but I think one of the things that I'm engaging a lot of people in conversation with at the moment is how do we make that work better for our communities? Because it's not always a clinical pathway. Sometimes it is, but it's not always that. Sometimes people just need someone to listen before it gets to, say, a mental health care plan, that clinical aspect. Sometimes they just need that very first step. And I think that's, if we keep medicalising a model, medicalising everything, we sometimes lose the magic that can happen when it's just like and this is my sports background coming out, the sports coach. Can see that you're not putting in 100% at training, or can see that you're just off a little bit and will pull you aside and go, you right? That's sort of a conversation that's got to happen. And there's no reason why we can't do that, to also understand how we can be the best people we could be in our families, whether that be man, woman, child, niece, auntie, whatever, because I think everybody, everybody's programmed that way. Maybe it's just me being naive. I always think about the best in people, but I think that's what everybody wants to do. They want to contribute the best.
I think you're spot on there, Renee. I mean, the thing is about, and we talk about this all the time, we've got to celebrate what we're all doing well, We know all the negative stuff that goes on in our community, but we don't celebrate enough of the positive stuff. So I want to congratulate you with Gidgee and what you guys are doing with that bottom-up approach, because we know that the top-down approach doesn't work. And it's not about going in there and saying this is what's wrong with you fellas and this is how we're going to fix it. It's about asking our mobs what is going on, what is happening for you, what are your concerns, what are your issues, and then we can and they know the solutions as well. So and then about guidance, that sort of stuff. So well done to Gidgee for that approach. I mean, we know that works, mate. So so well done.
Well, it's how our mob communicate. The top-down approaches never work for us, So, why try to force something that just doesn't work? Proven not to work.
Proven not to work in good times, and not with with COVID-19 and all that sort of stuff happening at the moment. So I know that there's probably like down here, like everywhere in Australia, there's going to be a number of either job losses or reduction of hours, and obviously, less income, I suppose, and that causes a lot of angst, for people. I guess that when I talked to Jack about it, I said, well, we're all in the same boat, really. It's how we react to that. What do we do when that happens? And I know that, social emotional wellbeing, mental health issues are going to continue to rise a little bit because of this and return back to normal. And, when you haven't got a job or when you reduce the hours or you can't go anywhere, because we love going, people do love travelling, and stuck in one place is going to cause a lot of anxiety, I guess, and a little bit of depression, I suppose. So we've been challenging each other over the last few weeks about doing something different. I'm reading now. I'm not an avid reader, so I picked up a book and I'm reading. We're making cakes, and Jack's doing nothing, of course, but I'm doing everything.
He's running.
And I must say too, I did actually do the push-up challenge as well.
That's right, you did,
today.
That was good,
days. And to be honest, I was struggling a little bit early on with the COVID stuff because I wasn't out in the community doing the work that we love doing, and so I was at home. and I was struggling a little bit. So with that gave me something to aim for, and it made me take responsibility and commit to something, which it sounds easy, 25 push-ups a day for 25 days, but it actually something that is, it takes a little bit of doing. So look, COVID-19 has been good for those sort of things, taking a little bit of responsibility for ourselves, looking after ourselves, because that's what we need to do, eh?
Yeah.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah. I do apologise, but I remember you doing those 25 push-ups.
Oh, thanks.
But the reason you're doing the 25 push-ups was not only because of COVID, but also for mental health. Yeah.
Well, I think it's something that's really close to all of our hearts, that work in the community and that sort of stuff. So the mental health side of it, the social emotional side of it is something that we're involved with, whenever we go into community, whatever we're doing in community. And that's what I'm saying about the jobs that you're doing there, Renee, with Gidgee, and you too, CJ, with the stuff that you do in community, and us with Mibbenbar as well. Look, we know that it's really important for people to have someone to have a yarn to. We all need to have a yarn to someone, and we all need to tell our stories, and our stories need to be heard. It's not rocket science or anything like that, but it's certainly something that goes a long way to start that process of healing, I guess.
Totally agree with that. And that's all it takes sometimes to start the healing process for people is to just listen, I guess, or offer the listening ear and no strings attached. Like, no referral will happen off this, or no, you know what I mean? People don't need that pressure. No agenda.
And just, and I guess if you're going to be asked, and we always talk about this, Jack and I, you're going to ask the question about maybe how you're going. You've got to be prepared to be able to listen to the answer and also be able to respond to that answer. You know what I mean? And so, you're not going to, is there anything I can do? Let's sit down and have a yarn, sort of stuff, And it's no more. It's no more. It's just a question off the cuff where you don't really care. If you're going to ask the question, you've got to care about it, and be able to respond to it.
Look, really well said. So,
those young people at the checkout at Coles, they ask me how I am, I tell them how I go. They get a bit of a shock, don't they, Jack? Yeah.
Today to Darlene Rodema. How are you, Darlene? Good to see you. She said, hi, everyone. Great yarn.
Yeah. Marilyn Jones.
Hey, Marilyn. Yeah, great to see you in. Yeah, thanks, Marilyn. Look, again, some really good stuff happening. And that's what we're saying. We need to be able to celebrate what people are doing in community. So we want to hear, what Gidgee are doing, for our mobs in, like Doomadgee and Mornington and Normanton and those sort of places, So it is really important for our those sort of places to be able to get that support, I guess. So and start that healing process, because we all know, that at times we all struggle. So we all need that support.
Yeah, definitely. It's the human condition.
It is the human condition.
Yeah, that's right.
It's and we were saying earlier on when we started doing this, it's we're kind of, if you're not going to work, you're working from home. So you're usually stuck in the house with the family for just about 24/7, and sometimes you do need to take some time out for yourself. Go for that walk, go and play golf, or do whatever you need to do to look after yourself as well. And you need to look after your family and friends, but just make sure that you're looking after yourself as well, because a lot of times, as we all look after others. We don't necessarily look after ourselves, So
I think it was the hardest thing to realise as I got older, that wasn't a selfish thing to do. That was actually a generous thing to do. If you did the self-care right, you had more of yourself to give anyway, So I think there's that balance that people have to realise that that's actually not a selfish thing to do. Men and women and the kids. The kids have to understand that it's okay to go into, don't use it like a bat cave and stay there forever. But yeah, that's what I call it, a bat cave. But it's all right to have that little bit of time to yourself. And I'm an introvert by nature, so I love my alone time, my time. And Charlie, I think I beat you. I've read, I think it's 5 books since COVID started.
Good on you. Wow.
I love reading. I treat it like a TV. If I feel like that book, I pick that book up, and I usually read about 4 at a time. So
I just kind of zone out when I pick up a book. You know what I mean?
I love reading.
You don't listen to anything else, and just reading, and just trying to understand what you're reading, I guess. And no, it's good. I'll have to catch up with you now. Geez, I'm done my book, but anyway, my book's about this big, that thick it is. It's taken me a long time.
What was it, Roots? Did you read Roots?
War and Peace. War and Peace.
But Renee, you are spot on with what you're saying there. With we do need to look after ourselves, and you're spot on. It's not about being selfish. If you're trying to look after everyone else, you fall over. What happens then? So look, we really do need to make sure that we've got enough petrol in the tank to be able to look after ourselves firstly. So like that again. So.
Yeah. No, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, being remote like you guys are, and you are remote, in terms of, I guess there's still a lot of people around. You know what I mean? It's, but if you're in a small community like, maybe Dulmiji or, community up in the Gulf there, I guess somewhere, you're kind of isolated again, aren't you? Really?
Yeah. Especially when they're locking you down, because they're restricting movement on and off those communities at the moment. So it's really hard for people to shift in and out of Dulmiji. And right in the middle of COVID, there were also people that were, I guess, restricted from going back to Dulmiji and Mornington because they were here in Mount Isa doing, could have been medical appointments or other appointments that they can't do anywhere else but here. And it didn't work in their favour, that's for sure. Imagine being locked out of your home because of this sort of stuff. And this isn't your base. Mount Isa's not your base. So, that's got to play a factor into people's, well-being as well, especially when Mount Isa as a town wasn't ready.
Yeah.
For that particular restriction, And
I guess the other thing too is that, like, some of us are living with our partners and our families and those sort of things. We've got to also think about the people that have been isolated, that are living alone, and we need to be checking in on those fellas and girls because, sometimes they're struggling big time, you know what I mean? So it's just about having that yarn, how you going? How you doing, brother? How you doing, sister, or whatever? Are you okay? Do you need anything, Sometimes it's just that's all it takes to brighten someone's day up, give them a little bit of hope, and do that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. Because
sorry, go, Charlie.
No, but there is a bit of a transient sort of community that comes in and out of Mount Isa all the time, isn't there? Like even from the territory and whatever, they come in and they stay, then they go again and come back again, sort of stuff.
And people were trapped here because Northern Territory still haven't opened their borders either yet, So people were stranded here in Mount Isa, and some of the motels opened up to be able to, provide accommodation for people, thankfully. And have people ready to shift back into community as that is required because, communities wanted quarantine periods. To make sure people remain COVID-free before they went back into the smaller communities, which is fair enough too. But, it did this has inconvenienced us a little bit out here. But, we're rolling with the punches as we do out in the northwest and the Gulf, as the rest of Australia has too, I think. I think we've done a really good job as Australia. I thought the beginning of it we were a little bit slow off the mark. I was calling Scott Morrison slow-mo. That's what I call it usually.
Slow-mo.
Slow-mo. But he caught up, the brother. So good on him. I think he was. He does, eh? I think he was trying to catch Jacinda. He's trying to catch Jacinda Ardern, maybe. I don't know. But can't let New Zealanders show us up, can you?
Did you see? Oh, no, she does a great job too. But
she does.
Yeah.
And she did in this instance as well, didn't she? So she took the lead, and I think you might be right. ScoMo, slow-mo, whatever we want to call him.
Poor fella.
Yeah, I know. Well, he supports the Sharks, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, can't help him either. Can't help him or Jan Raymer. Can't help him.
It's a choice they make. It's a choice they make, yeah. Renee, how long have I known you?
For years, Charlie. So I met Charlie many, many years ago when I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do for a career. And it was way back in the industry training days. Remember that Community Services Industry Training Council?
That's right. Yeah.
And I came on as the admin person, and Charlie was working in that little space. I can't even remember where. It was in the city somewhere, Charlie, our office was.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. It was up
in George Street, I think it was, somewhere like that. Charlotte Street.
Charlotte Street.
Yeah,
that's right.
So that was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Jeez.
I better not say how many years ago.
No, it feels like yesterday, Jeff.
It feels like yesterday. It was when I was running to work, Charlie. Put it that way.
That's right. Yeah. Where were you living at? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, it's been good, but and I'm really there was a couple of people, yourself, and there was a fellow by the name of Dean Daylight. Remember Dean?
Yes, I do remember Dean. Yes.
Yeah, he was a trainee at that time. Now he's sitting up in some government office or somewhere, to advisor to the minister or something like that. It's so good to see, our young people going up and doing that sort of stuff. It's great, and we've got a lot of young leaders coming through, which is also inspiring,
Well, with the support of you fellas, paved the way for us. How long ago were you a health worker, Jack? How long ago?
I was probably 15 years ago here on the coast. So, I started off here as a health worker and was lucky enough to be able to we put in for a proposal to the Cooperative Research Centre for Aboriginal Health to start a research project on men's health. And from there, we were able to, with the help of Mick Gooder at the time, who was our CEO, we turned our Mibbenbar here into a health promotion charity for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander males in 2007, I think it was. Yep. And from there, we've been working in community ever since. And we run a program called Be the Best You Can Be, using the movie Mad Bastards. Right. And we workshop some 6 or 7 themes out of the movie and do it that way. And since 2014, we've actually been working with our women right across the country as well. So we've got female facilitators, and we have done work in Dormagee and Mornington Island and those sort of places as well. So look, we love it. Can't wait to get back there to do some more work with Mob there, because I really miss it, because they're such beautiful places. There's such beautiful mob to work with. And I just love it. So answering the question, 2005, I think I was a health work.
2005.
There you go.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, even back then, I suppose we recognised that there needed to be something for men, and it's good that things are happening slowly, and we'll get there, I suppose.
And CJ, I honestly think that, like, our fellas, I do a fair bit of speaking, like at conferences on anger and those sort of things as well. And it really peeves me when people say our fellas won't talk, our fellas won't do this, our fellas won't do that. But if we give our fellas the opportunity, in a safe and well-facilitated space, our lads talk, and they will tell you what their issues are, what their concerns are, and they'll also tell you what the solutions are. So half done. So all we're doing is walking side by side with those fellas. And I can tell you that, three of the biggest things over the last, decade or so that we've been working, the three biggest things that come out are relationships, identity, and DV. And our fellas want our women to be involved with our healing. So it's something that's really special that's coming out, So they talk about that, wanting our women to be side by side. And I suppose the thing is that, what they say is, we've lost our way, 100%, over, last 100, 200 years, whatever you want to say. But now it's time for us to be able to take responsibility and regain our place in society, which is not about in competition with our women and our kids. It's about standing next to our women and trying to help them because they've been our rocks for so long.
Yeah, and I reckon you're spot on there in terms of just allowing the space. All you got to do is allow the space, and people will tell you what they need, and people will tell you what they want. And that's exactly what we've got to do. It's just about not talking over the top of that space and listening, and then implementing what you've got to implement. At the end of the day. But I'm a firm believer in that. I think it's a hand-in-hand process. We've all lost our way, whether it be in control or not. But very much we've always worked together, men and women in our communities. The key to it is we know when each other has to take the lead, and the other one steps back to gracefully go, your turn, and I think that's the part that we've got to bring back into the way that we think about solutions to things like DV, solutions to things like social emotional well-being, solution to things like rebuilding those family blocks, because it's the only way forward, I reckon.
Yeah, that's right.
Well said.
And I think we've got to own it, I suppose, and we've got to know, our responsibilities are. Whether that means just adjusting the sails a little bit to be able to, make things work for you and your family. You do that, I suppose. So there's a couple of call outs from Devon. Devon Raymond's on there too. He said, thanks for the invite, CJ. Hey, Renee and Jack. Good to hear what's going on in other parts of the AMS community. Very inspiring and great listening. So thanks.
Hey, Dev.
Thanks, Devon.
Yeah, and Malcolm Darling, he said, well said, brother, to you, Jack.
G'day, Malcolm, my brother up there in Darwin.
And a big shout out to Blake too. Blake Fagan's on there.
Is he? Blake.
Good talk tonight, especially the health, mental health discussion. So yeah, good.
I call him the host with the most.
Is he the host with the most?
Charlie might dispute that one, Renee.
I don't know about that. Yeah, no, it's not like we're talking to a lot of people, is it? When you get on here, and it's you don't feel like you've got an audience, but yeah, there are people there. Yeah, it's good, it's great. But yeah, we welcome you guys to join us every Friday and Monday. Share the post, share the love, let people know. Come on board and have a listen. We often say that if you can get anything out of these conversations that we have, certainly that's the aim of this whole thing, I suppose, is reaching out, making sure that we can communicate and yarn with people. This is a new way of doing things. Murray's on the internet. Well, I don't know,
Look out.
Hey, inquiries. Don't forget
Inquiries.
All right.
Numbers and queries. Yeah. And the Welsh. Don't forget the Welsh.
And don't forget the Welsh people.
That's right. It's early over there.
Yeah.
I think you're spot on, CJ, with the whole thing there. I mean, we just ran into each other down at Coogan there and started having a yarn, and we're in the middle of COVID-19, and we thought, we're both missing our community work. We're both missing that sort of stuff. So other people must be missing, having a yarn and those sort of things as well. So that's what we just come up with, wasn't it, CJ? Like it was just about having a talking maybe rubbish, you know what I mean? But
that's all right. That's all right.
That's what we do normally. We do that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not denying that.
Yeah. But yeah, and also talking about, what's our goals for the week. So what is it, Monday to this week? Yeah. Is it Monday? Yeah, it's Monday. Got a bit on this week. So it's what about you, Jackie? You got a big week ahead?
Yeah, I've got a fair bit on. There's a few, like we had a lot of our work postponed for COVID-19, and so we're still in negotiations. Right now we're supposed to be in Alice Springs and working in 4 communities there. So we're just renegotiating when we can get back there, and then also we're supposed to be over in the Kimberley straight after. So we're trying to reschedule that as well. So we're doing that. And Charlie, a bit more of my masters as well. So
yeah, keep head in the books, mate. That's what I do. That's good to hear, mate. Really good. I haven't started on my little certificate yet, but I will. I'm going to do some life coaching training now, Renee. So
well done. Good
yeah,
on
I
you.
think so. I think so. Yeah. I'm sure I must have made enough mistakes, so I should be able to, provide someone with some advice.
I think we all have, brother.
Yeah. But,
what about you, Renee? What have you got on for this week?
Well, we just get through our accreditation first. That'll take till Wednesday.
Yeah.
Definitely. But let's see, what else is there? Oh goodness, you put me on the spot. That's the accreditation's taken the most of my brain at the moment.
Yeah. I can imagine.
But look, the week's always busy out here in Mount Isa. I think I've got to start that run. And very interesting you say, Jack, because I've just re-enrolled in my masters too. So got to get that started.
I might ring you for your tips then.
Oh, I think we better start a study group, brother.
That's it. Absolutely.
Charlie, you got to get into a study group. Whatever you're doing.
Might have to. Yeah. You guys might be a bit over the top for me, I tell you. Yeah.
No, never over the top, brother.
Yeah. No.
Renee, what uni are you studying at?
I'm studying at University of Southern Queensland. So just been accepted there. And my master's is a bit of a research project on cultural safety and embedding cultural safety into the workplace. Exactly what makes people culturally safe. So so that's the project. We'll see how we go.
That'll be interesting to read that when you finish with it. And, some of that research, that'll be really good, I think. Yeah, I think that's an important thing, and culture is, like they say, and I think Dr. Derek always says, is that culture plays a big part in everyone's mental health, no matter who you are. If you're connected with the culture, whether that be black or white or whatever, then you're kind of on board, I suppose. I think it gives you a sense of belonging, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And that's something that we could talk about all night, CJ.
We could.
Sense of belonging.
I know. I know, mate.
We could.
You got a bit of a purpose, yeah. But look, Renee, you've been fantastic. Thank you for coming on board.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite. Loved it. I'll be tuning in now every Friday and Monday.
Next time I'm in Mount Isa, I'm going to come and have a coffee.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
For a run, maybe.
Well, yeah, all right then. Okay. I better start training. I'm definitely going to start training this week now.
And if you're on the Gold Coast, come and see me and CJ.
But say hello to all the mob up there in Mount Isa for us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Will do. I will do.
Come back up there again one day and probably do a bit of work or just catch up with people. Might even do a road trip. How's that?
Lovely. That's good. Best way to do it is drive it out here.
In the combi, CJ.
I did it in a combi back in 1981.
Yeah. And you do it again.
I could do it again. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's the way. Thank you very much for the invite. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. It's been wonderful having you on.
Absolutely.
And hearing about a bit about yourself and a bit about Gidgee. I mean, fantastic stuff you guys are doing. So keep up the great work. And I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Definitely.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks again.
PJ. Good on you, mate. Who we got on Friday, mate?
Well, we're still working on that, but we'll have someone there for sure on Friday.
Oh, it's going to be a surprise. Look out.
Special. That's a special.
Special guest. We might have Slow-Mo.
They're all special.
I was going to say, come on.
Yeah.
Well, this is a hard act to follow. You know that. this is a hard act to follow. How do we sort of,
That's right, exactly. All right, guys. Over and out for now.
Thanks, Renee.
Thank you.